Find and kill the monster! It's just a beast under your bed, in your closet and in your head. Yeah. So, the items that I had to... I remember again, I had to write it down. The items I had to fix. Okay, in the back of the garage, there was a hole where there was just... there was a hole in the drywall, or the, sheetrock, where it was just, insulation hanging out. And I wasn't sure what that was. But apparently the pipes for the bathroom run from the laundry room through that wall up, make it like a vertical turn and go up the wall in between my daughter's room and the bathroom is where the pipes are at. And the elbow was hanging just below that, so they couldn't fill it in. That was probably the worst thing I had to do. No, it actually wasn't the worst thing I had to do, but man, it sucked. So I had to just build a little frame with some 1x, and then find the stud, attach the 1x to the stud, and then put a piece of drywall on that frame that covered up the ceiling. Now they did cut into the cinder block for that, and so therefore I just attached another piece to it, with an L bracket, and covered it up, and then sprayed some insulation foam and said, "To hell with it." The back of the house had some around the windows. Now this enclosed porch that I had was bane of my existence for this house, but it became a situation where it's like I got to get it done. There was some water damage, just years and years of damage. There was holes around this wood that met the brick on the wall. I just said, you know what? Okay, fine. So I grabbed some spray foam insulation and I just filled all the holes and then shaved it off, and there you go, done. Again, yeah. Should I pay a contractor to do it? Only if I was keeping the house. Those were the two things that were non-electrical. There was a third thing where there was the gas dryer that I did not have. When they put the 220 line in and they got the 200 amp box put in, they did not cap off the gas lines that went to the dryer. They were just sitting there with shut-off valves, half-turn valves or whatever, to shut them off. I never touched them. I never used them. I never saw them. I never didn't care about them. I didn't know what they meant. I knew that they were the gas lines, but I thought they were fine. Well, they're just like, these got to have caps on them. So I had to go buy some Teflon tape and some 1/2 inch or 5/8, I think it was, caps, metal, brass caps, or whatever, and screw them on and be done. Okay, fine. That was easy. Then we get into the electrical stuff. In the attic, there was an attic fan, and there was a box that's attached to that with wires. And then outside of that box, there were more wires. I don't know why the person didn't do it, but my cousin, who was in the Air Force and worked on jets and such, he's an electrician, not by trade, but by choice, not licensed or anything. But okay, whatever. He can do the work. He got up there and started looking around, and he said, "Oh yeah, the box is here. The wires are just not in it. I don't know why." Open up the box, put the wires in, close the box, you're good. Further back in the attic, there is a roof fan. Draws the moisture and the humidity or whatever out of your attic when the air, it's a thermostat-driven thing. Once that gets on and turning, it's wired to a post, like a support brace. And again, same thing. Wires are hanging out. Okay, fine. Wires could go inside the box. He did that and got it done. We were good to go. Then we got into the rest of the house. Now, I put the covers on all the outlets and everything else. They said that there were no GFIs on the outlet next to the sink in the kitchen, outlet next to the laundry room, the laundry tub, on the back porch, and in the garage. Well, first of all, the back porch and the garage were enclosed. I don't know why they need a GFI at all. Probably because they're considered an exterior location, but okay, whatever. The kitchen and the basement, I could understand. Totally understand, right there by the laundry tub. So I was not looking forward to that. Above the laundry room door, there was a set of wires that were just tied off with wire nuts and just sitting out there. So, yeah. Okay, I had a meeting. I had to take time to go do a meeting. I don't even know where I was at, but pretty much let's continue on with the idea that I had to do some electrical work, which I am not an electrician, but I said my cousin's husband is an electrician. He did some of the work. Unfortunately, I also had to replace another item, the garage door opener. Now, the garage door, the funny thing about the garage door is it never really worked great, even before the springs broke, and that's what happened. The spring broke on the one side. $28 get you a set of springs. They're not that hard to undo everything, and a lot of it's just friction that holds these things in place. But we got the springs on, and push the button, and it would go up and it would stop. Now I figured out that I think the motor, which is this little tiny motor, is underpowered because the entire thing just did not run to begin with. It never really ran great. In the wintertime, it would get cold and it wouldn't go up. You take everything off of it and just run the chain by itself, it worked fine. You put any kind of tension on it, it started to give some problems. So it mainly is the springs were what were the big problem. That was fixed. It's now just because it's underpowered. Boom. Okay, so the GFIs. Now, in the basement at the laundry room tub, there was a metal box, and in that box there were two wires coming down from the outside. The box was not in the wall, it was external to the wall, on the wall. Opened it up, and it's like, a mess. We pulled it out and started putting the wires onto the GFI, and we're having trouble. Couldn't get the wires in, couldn't get anything to work. Once we got the wires onto it and put it into the box, it wouldn't fit right. Turns out, the box wasn't deep enough. A GFI is a little bit thicker than a regular outlet that was in there. GFIs are like a breaker, like your power strip or a breaker in your electrical box, where if water gets into it, it pops the breaker and stops it from electrocuting you or anybody else. That's why you have them in your bathroom, your kitchen usually. So I had to go buy a new box. Ooh, Death Claws! I had to go buy... Ooh, and it's an alpha too. I had to go buy a new box that was deeper. And unfortunately, because those two wires coming down into the... were old, and like very old. And I was like not really happy with the entire situation. Had to get a dual knockout clamp. A clamp. Now, when you get a box, they have holes that are kind of like they look like coins on the side that are like little indentations, and they have a little lip on them. And that means you can fold them in like a pop can tab and pop them out. And that's where you pull your wires through. But in order to make them compliant, you need to make sure you have a clamp in there to lock the wires down so the wires can't be pulled out, and you can't get anything inside of there to touch the exposed parts of the wires if there are any. Because when you do that, you can create a spark and cause problems. The box that was on the wall was so old, and the clamp was like old. It was like lead. I don't remember. It was just heavy as hell. I pulled that off, and I had to like shove all the wires in and then try to get them all there. Then the first thing that happened was that the ground wire that attaches to a little screw on the top of the GFI snapped off. I had to pull everything back out and make myself more, because the wires coming in and going out tied together at the ground. And then I had it in, but I put it in backwards. And the reason I put it in backwards is that on one side, the top or the bottom, depending on how you have it configured, of the outlet, there is what's called the line. And that's the hot coming in from the power source. On the other side, it's called the load, which is carrying it to somewhere else, either to another outlet or to another appliance or something like that. I had it backwards because I didn't know anything, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Also, like, the outlet wouldn't work, and I thought I did it wrong, and I thought I blew an entire fuse, and I'll tell you why. And let me get back to the Vault, and we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, we got a pickaxe, we got a fancy formware, we got a microscope, and we got a Nuka-Cola quantum. Yay, monsters in my bed. There's a Death Claws all the time. They're coming back in. We're going to let them run in on their own. We're going to do a little bit more talking just because it's such a big, huge subject to talk about. What was the entire thing of that? Track down and kill a teddy bear stealing monster. One of the Vault youngsters were playing outside when a terrifying monster stole their teddy bear, now they refuse to sleep, claiming the monster comes back every night to hide under their bed. We've got to track the beast down. Then the kids' fears permanently. Didn't really see anything but the death claws. I don't know that we got teddy bears. There you go. There you go. Alrighty. Okay. We're going to let them run back into the vault and not really worry about it. The other guys are out going to do another quest, which is the Game Show Gauntlet. Let's go ahead and do that. One last quest. Well, it's a big episode for y'all. Answer all the questions. We'll let them get in. Come on. So yeah, GFI got the wires in and it wasn't working. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't realize I put it in upside down. Not an electrician. Told you that again. Fahaba Island is in Maine. It's in Maine. Yes, foggy, frosty, and frightening Maine. Things I know nothing much about because I didn't play Far Harbor, which I would have liked to, but I didn't. What I didn't realize, though, is like I thought I blew something horrible in the house, and I'm like, oh god, I've made things worse. I've made things so much worse. Let's let's hope that I didn't screw things up permanently and have to make myself even more problems. Because now this is Wednesday. This was Wednesday. The closing was less than a week away. I went upstairs. I needed to charge the battery on my drill. So I had it upstairs in the kitchen because there was an outlet right there. It's where all my other stuff was at. Plugged in the charger, and it wasn't working. And I'm like, well, why isn't this thing working? Why the hell is this, what did I do? Did I permanently do something? I didn't realize this was a good thing. The reason why that outlet was not working was because the one down below it in the laundry room wasn't working. Turns out those two were tied together. That upstairs outlet in the kitchen was on the load side. That's why it wasn't working, because I had the thing upside down. It wasn't carrying the entire thing. So once I figured that out, I was like, okay, wait a second. Let's change the entire ballgame. That one at the kitchen doesn't need to have a GFI because there's one GFI already in place. I just have to make it work. Putting in two GFIs, I guess, isn't a bad thing. You're not going to hurt anything, but it could cause problems later on. Like, you don't know where it's popped at. It could pop in different places. It's better to just have the one. It still functions the same way. It's fine. So I had to focus on the one downstairs. The one upstairs, I just put the cover back on the wall and was done with it. Went back downstairs, and then I pulled out all of the wires, and then I figured out which was the hot. Now, again, I did not know anything about electricity with this kind of thing. I turned on the breaker, and I walked back, and I had a voltage detector. And out of the 4 wires, 2 black, 2 white, only one was beeping when I touched it with the voltage detector. That means it was the hot or the black wire on the line coming in. The white is the neutral and isn't carrying a charge. So I made sure I taped that, put a little bit of tape on it so I knew which one was which. Then I grabbed the GFI, made sure I had the black to the brass on either side, and the white to the silver on the other side, and I hooked it up correctly. Had made more slack or for the ground wire, tied it up, put it into the box, and then I realized that it was working because the little orange light came on. Popped it back in, hooked up my little sweeper, and it ran fine. Ran upstairs to the kitchen, looked at my drill battery charger. It was now blinking. Fanny's your aunt, Bob's your uncle. We're good to go. So I got that all back in, covered it up. That took 3 hours. Took 3 hours to do that one outlet, start to finish. Again, I am not I'm not an electrician. That left me with 2 other outlets, the one in the back porch and the one on the garage. One on the outlet in the back porch was easy. I just popped it off. Now, I thought it was going to be a hell of a lot harder because it was an older box and I had painted over it by accident. But I managed to get the cover off, pull all the wires out, put the thing in, tie it all together, plop it back in. There was another outlet next to it. I plugged the sweeper into that so I didn't have to touch anything. And then once I had it all back together and popped the breaker back on, it ran and I was fine, covered it up. Looks pretty. Good. Garage became a different story altogether. The garage was a two-gang. Two-gang meaning a box, not a rectangle, but a box, and there's four things. Usually it can be two outlets. Four plugs all together, or two plugs and a switch. Three lines coming in. One down on the left, one in the middle, one going out on the right. There was a switch. I did not realize how many things were tied into this outlet. The plug itself and the outlet and the switch, I thought were the only things that were working on that thing, because I knew the back of the house had a light above the wall that was on the roof line that was there. Never really used it. Didn't realize that the sugar. The nucleus. That's right. There's an outlet, there's a light above the garage door, the man door, and it was tied into that as well. I didn't realize it was tied into that until I followed the wires all over the house. So I was like, okay, well, shit, didn't realize it. Now, the reason I didn't realize it was because I didn't even see that it was a problem yet. But when I pulled off the cover on the outlet, there was one wire coming in, black and white. A second wire coming in the middle, black and white. And then a third wire, which was going out for the switch on, the left-hand side. There was three white wires tied together with a notch cut out, like the sheath pulled back, and two wires wrapped around it and then taped up. And I saw what they did. They tied all of the whites together onto one line, onto the line. Black coming in on the top, black coming in on the bottom, white coming in on the top, and then halfway back on the white was this length of electrical tape wrapped around, which I assumed was they had shaved off the sheath and they had wrapped the other white going out on the load, and then also the jumper to the switch that went out on the other thing. Ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. So I didn't want to get, I texted my cousin's husband. I said, hey, what do we do about this? He's like, well, ideally, I see why they did that, but here's what you should do. And I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to get into involved. I got to get done. I'm going to just put the GFI in and hook it up the same way I pulled off the other outlet and go with it. Put it back in, got it all done, and I was like, oh, wait a second. There's no way my plate is going to fit on this box, because the plate for the two-gang had a screw in the middle of the two plugs, and then a screw at the above and below of the switch. And the box itself is a metal box and has one on the diagonal corners at your 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock positions. So how the hell do I do that? I can use that. That's great. Speaking of electricity. My cousin says, wait, you need this. I had to go back to the the hardware store and get an adapter cover. So this adapter cover encloses the box and makes it a little bit more of a smaller opening, and has screws for the various items that you need to screw into. So there's a screw it gives you 4 screws on the top and the bottom of the box. That allows me to plug in all the stuff behind it, put the cover on, and then put the plate on top of that. Get that all done, and then I turn the switch, and it works, and it's great. And it was getting dark outside, so I went and I flipped on the outside light to the thing, and it popped. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? What happened here? Went back, pushed the button in, went back over, turned on the light, it pops again. Realized that when the GFI was in place, the configuration they had those wires in was not going to work. I had to pull it apart, pull all the wires out, undo that white wire with the tape, and pull those 2 other white wires off of it, hoping that I didn't break anything, because these things can get a little bit, you know, the strength can, you know, degrade, and you can end up snapping them, like I did with my ground wire in the laundry room. So, is there somebody else standing behind him, or is just he's swinging a gun around? Yeah, he's swinging a gun around. So I undid it. I got the blacks on both sides, whites on the other side, and I took the white, and then I just took the one and ran it to a jumper, and then tied the switch into that, and then, you know, anything down the load on the load side is fine. It's not providing power, it's carrying power. So it was a lot safer to do it that way. So you have, you know, white, white, or black, black. I'm going top to bottom, and then white going into, instead of that white coming off of there, it jumps between, you know, coming off of the white, off the bottom to another junction, and then going over to the switch, and then the switch going out. So then everything, you can tie it to the, load, you can't tie to the line. That's what it was. It was pushing too much through that one side, carrying too much, trying to carry too much, or however you want to call it. But so I got that all figured out, and everything worked fine. The popped the breaker on it, went back, switched on the light to the outside door above the garage, and no pop, no break, no anything. So I was like, that's it, I'm done, we're good. Now, that was Friday. No, that was not Friday. That was Sunday. This was on Sunday. Mind you, we're closing on Tuesday. 9 o'clock on Sunday. I had to go, because Saturday I blew for work. I had to go where we were converting some things, and I was on there for like, 8 hours. I rented a U-Haul on Friday. I didn't get to touch it until Monday. We were lucky enough to have a guy help us, and sometimes I think that you tend to, I don't believe in a lot of things, but sometimes things happen the way they should happen in a certain way. And I say that because I didn't get done to 11 o'clock on Sunday night. We started at 9 o'clock on Monday morning in order to get moving. We had everything, all the electrical items done, all the other items I had to do fixed, and that was just get everything out of the house. 9 o'clock, we show up. Hey, new weapon. We show up to work. First thing we decided, we have to get the heaviest things on the truck because we have a help and we can do everything else ourselves at night with him gone because he had to go to work. It's just the heavy things. And I needed an extra set of hands and legs to carry the heavy stuff. And we'll tell you more about that in a second. Let's get them taken care of. Get back to the vault. Yay. All right. Cool. Nice. Good stuff there. Awesome possum. Okay, they're coming back in. We'll let them run in. We don't need to do anything special with them right now. I'm not going to open up the lunch boxes because they are while they are many, they're not enough. There's 3 of them. We'll wait till we get more. These guys are full. I can't put anybody else in for now, so we're going to just wait and do that. We are, like I said, we're getting everybody through. We're still doing our thing here. I got to place people, and I'll do that offline so that we have everybody where they need to be. We have a couple of people still walking around on coffee break from being outside, so we're cool there. Anywho, just to give you just to tie all this together. 9 o'clock we started, and the first thing we wanted to do was carry the couch out of the house. Couch I got in 2014. The company that I bought it from delivered it, and they put it into the house. I didn't do it. We could not get this thing out of the house. It was huge. Tried everything. Took the legs off. We tried tipping it. We tried turning it. We tried going a different direction. None of it seemed to be working. I was like, look, I don't want to have this thing just get derailed because of this stupid couch. He's like, I have a Sawzall. I said, go for it. I'm not keeping it anyways. It's an old couch. It doesn't really... I have no place for it. It's not comfortable. Yeah, kill it. Just kill it. So he got the Sawzall out. We cut it in half. Took out each piece easily and got it out. got all the rest of the furniture that we needed to get out onto the truck, and that pretty much was lunchtime by the time we got all that done. Went to the house, unloaded, and then came back. Got the last few things that we needed to get onto the truck that I needed a second person for. Then I told him, say, get the hell out of here. Go do what you got to do. You got to go to work. You needed some sleep. Go. And then it was just up to me and Megan. That was like 4 o'clock, 4:30. We spent from 4:30 until 1 in the morning clearing everything out of the house. And it was just like, shove it in the back of the truck. Just put the boxes in the back of the truck. I had to actually call the U-Haul company before 4 o'clock and tell them that I needed to keep the truck another day because we just were. And again, I thought I was going to have time to put stuff in all weekend long. I didn't because I blew so much time on other things that we just couldn't do anything. So I got the truck because I knew I needed to get the truck, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to get it until Monday if I didn't already have it, but I wasn't sure that I wasn't going to be able to use it until Monday because of the way things were going. If that makes any sense to you at all. Yeah, I was tired. So we loaded up the truck 1 a.m. We got it completely filled. We had the entire house cleared. We had like maybe just a couple of things left to take into the car and maybe a couple of things we could throw in the truck, but we didn't put them in the truck now because it was freezing outside and we were afraid that things were going to explode in the back of a U-Haul. So we left them in the house, and I came over in the morning on Tuesday, 9 o'clock, loaded up the rest of the items, and then we had the closing, and it all went like butter. Except for the fact that I couldn't get the stupid garage door to open. Everything I tried to do, it wouldn't open. I was like, well, like, to which the buying agent turned to the buyer and said, is that going to be a problem? And he says, I don't know. To which I about yelled something inappropriate, and then his mother turned to him and said, does your truck even fit in here? And he's like, no. So I was like, what the hell does it matter at that point? So, yeah. That being said, we rolled out of there at 11:45. I took the truck back to the house. I was still tired. I had maybe 3 hours of sleep. I parked it in the alley. I unloaded everything into the garage here, turned the truck in, and then collapsed on the couch for the rest of the day. And then we were done. So I will never do this again. I'm done. I'm going to pick a day each year, and we're going to go through and reduce some things in the house and get rid of things we don't need, we don't want, we don't care about. I don't want to do this. I don't want to pass this on to anybody else. It's time to be done. So, that being said, let's bring them back in, just to get it done. Extra long episode here for you, folks. Extra long episode in for you. Alright. Look at all that stuff they're bringing in. Cool beaners. And 13 weapons we almost got. Any more cool... oh, look at this. Reign of Radroach Rodney. This is cool. I don't know where these quests came from, but we'll do them. We will do them. Oh, did I not kill these people? Alright, well, what's the whole thing of Radroach Rodney? Defeat Radroach Rodney and his Radroaches. Radroach Rodney and his army of mind-controlled Radroaches are invading the wasteland. We will do that one. We'll send them out there. That'll be good to go. We'll do that next time. Alright, that's it for now. I'm sorry to have kept you long on this episode. I felt like we didn't really do much but talk about my woes. But it's done. It's happy. And we can talk maybe more about something else in a different post. I don't know. We'll go from there. So then we'll see you next time. Everybody, thank you again for watching. Please, if you have ever have any questions about buying or selling a house, I can tell you. Otherwise, we will talk to you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.